What we into this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't.
Okay, so aside from Stranger Things season 3, which we'll talk about here in a minute, I only really listened. I only watched.
What were you into?
I was only into 2 things this week.
Okay.
Because we sort of did Spider-Man. We did that. We recorded on Saturday, so it's only really been about 3 or 4 days.
Right.
But we're getting back on schedule, and the kids are out of the house. So
so we had to pick our
like,
spot.
let's do it.
We had to pick, well, summer break is on, so it's not like we have the option of anymore.
Exactly. So what do you got? You got a lot of stuff, a little things, few things?
I do have a lot of stuff, but I can condense it all because it basically took place with 2 genres. I was really into anime and video games this week because of the PlayStation Now subscription.
Okay.
That I won't be.
What do you want to start with?
You know what? Let's start with video games because you handed me off Sekiro Shadows Die Twice last week.
Oh, did you play it?
I started, yeah.
Yes.
I jumped in. Beat Jozu the Drunk right off top.
Right.
Didn't even have issues.
You used your little companion buddy to help you?
I did.
Right.
I basically, the strategy that I ended up using right off the top was running through the level and thinning the herd. Like aggroing your guy enough to pull him away from a mass of people.
Right.
And then, because, I mean, you're a shinobi, so I was playing like a shinobi.
Yeah. You saw me play a bunch, too, so you knew this is what not to do.
I actually...
Don't play it like Larry plays
I ended up, not for nothing, I ended up getting frustrated and I ended up quitting it, but because most of the time I was dying, but it wasn't from men, it was from environment. From traversal.
Oh yeah.
Like trying to get to like for whatever reason, like whenever you jump off a thing and you're trying to grapple to another thing, like even when you hit it at the time that you're supposed to hit it, it just doesn't engage it.
Yeah.
So I found myself dying a lot, but not from like enemies, just from just jumping off of an area and not getting the grapple to work. So.
I found it, yes, and I found the traversal to be frustrating and a little specific. That will become very, very easy.
I think so too. I'm not bothered, but I do love the gameplay. I already unlocked a couple different skills. Like I unlocked that skill where it basically stops a thrust attack where the
Mirakiri counter.
Yeah, that I fucking love. I haven't been able to use it with any deftness yet.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to do a couple more fights with my dead guy.
So I think one of the confusing things about when I played it was I was under the impression you had to press forward with the stick and then press circle to use the Mirakiri counter.
No,
it's really just pressing circle
like
at
right
the right
before it
moment,
hits.
and finding the timing. And every enemy has like a different timing.
Right.
So you beat Gozu the Drunk.
Right. And thankfully for my dude, like my dude, I was hoping that he would survive the encounter. But if not for his sacrifice, I wouldn't have made it out of that fight.
He can survive the encounter.
Yeah, I figured he could, and I was trying to do that. But Gozu was a motherfucker. Yeah. And, I mean, it's early in the game, so I was, like, not trying to die like that. But, like, basically it happened like this. He killed my guy, and then, like, he turned around to swing on me, and I was like, ah! And I got him right at the... Yeah. I got him right before he got me.
Okay, so right after that, it opens up a section where you can go down and you can play Lady Butterfly. Did you get to that yet?
Mm-mm.
If you go because basically beyond Gozu the Drunk is the...
Oh, right. You go... the door was locked. That door is locked. Like, I got all the way there. I must have missed something.
Okay.
Because...
well, don't worry about it now. Anyways.
I got all the way to you go through the house, you see the crying woman.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then you go down that hall, and oh boy gives you seeds. He's like, you need these to break the illusion or whatever.
You don't. You can just run around in a circle, and that illusion will eventually disappear.
And I figured there's also... Well, anyway. So I went down, I went to the door, and I hit the door, and it's like, it's locked.
Right.
So apparently I don't have what I need to access it yet.
Okay. Don't worry about it, because you're not skilled enough yet to beat it.
I think clearly I am.
I'm just telling you, I think
clearly.
Every frustration I had with the game was getting to a point where I was not ready for yet, and there was another place I needed to go and do before coming back to that place.
I didn't even fight. Okay, I did, but I ran from him afterwards. The giant, the one that you need.
Yes,
like the flame arm for.
Yeah.
Like, I started fighting, and I was like, clearly I am not on his level. He body slammed me a couple times, and I was like,
threw you off the ledge. Yeah.
I was like, I'm out of here.
That's my general rule. If you get frustrated, just go do something else for a while and come back.
Well, I think you have to farm a little bit, especially at the top, because each one of the sculptor idols you go to resets you, but also resets your environment and the enemies in it. And I think when as you're going through the game, if you come to a point where you feel like you need to go forward, you basically just run through the level a few times to get your thing up to buy skills, and then you can. Like, I think that's what I was doing, because I was just kind of like, I went from the first level to the second level, and then it gets weird because you jump into a memory, basically. And then you're like,
it's time travel.
Am I... So, but like, I'm confused because like you jump into that memory, but then you ultimately come back to the dilapidated temple because that's your hub. That's your hub. Yeah. So whenever you go back out into the world, are you then jumping back into that memory, or are you running the path of what is now your present?
It's just, don't overthink it.
No, I have to. That's the way I think linearly like this, especially when you're talking about time travel stories. It's just weird
because there's a whole.
Because it only happens after you died. So I was wondering like, if you start this game and you don't die at all, do some of those sequences not happen for you? Like, I guess my question is, has anyone played Sekiro Shadows Die Twice without actually ever dying?
Yes.
They have?
Yeah.
And the story's still the same?
Oh, you mean that first section where you get your arm chopped off? No, that's got to happen.
Well, yeah. Well, that one obviously has to happen. I mean, after you wake up and you have the prosthetic, like, you can play through that game and not die.
Yeah, there's people who played through the game and not even been hit. You know what I mean?
So,
damageless run through.
So, like, how does the story then progress if you don't do one of the mainstays of Shadows Die? You have to die.
I know that there's a whole section at the end that you can completely miss, and it's like a good 3-4 hours worth of play. That, like, if you choose one of the endings, you get to a point where you meet up with your dad, and he's like
the guy. Well, technically,
Owl.
your guy, your adopted guy, the guy who takes you in.
Yes, yeah.
After he finds you on the battlefield. So you didn't even describe the story to me. I asked you what the story was. And
I don't do well with video game stories because I
end up playing, actually kind of great.
I know. I end up playing them over like a long extended week period, but with like hours between little cutscenes, and I forget it all, and it's late at night, and I fall asleep, so I miss huge sections of the story.
Okay.
And I don't really play games, definitely the From Software games at all, trying to play for the stories. It's more just the playing, you know.
Right. Well, like, well, that's what happened to me. I got frustrated, and I was like, "Fuck Sekiro," and then I signed into PlayStation Now, and I started playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2.
Okay.
The sequel to Ninja Gaiden Sigma.
Okay.
Which. Those games have problems. They're problematic because they're not structured in a way that makes the gameplay.
This is PS3 era.
Yeah, it's a PS3 game.
So you went from like top notch Shinobi game to like older PS3.
Last generation. Calm down. It's one generation separation.
Things changed a lot since 2009.
It hasn't. It hasn't because
10 years old.
It may be 10 years old, but on my television and the PlayStation Network, it looks just as good as like any game now.
Okay. On my not great television, it looks just.
My television's actually pretty good.
It is good. I don't know what was that? You were knocking your television there for a second.
I wasn't knocking my television. My television was awesome. I was saying on my television, even though it's 10 years old, it's probably been remastered and like scrubbed really good. So it looks. I actually had to look up when it came out. I was like, oh, this.
There was a port for Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 to the PlayStation Vita. And it was Sigma 2 Plus.
Well then. But anyway, it's uneven in the way they set out these levels. Like. They got basically at the point I am. I think I'm done playing this game because I've gotten to a boss battle where they have you fight a boss battle, and then immediately subsequently fight another boss battle without any sort of like rehashing. You get no pub time, no like
you're just like there's another boss. Come on, man, I need a break.
Like, can I get like a power up or like at least stop up at the store or whatever?
Sure.
And it's not like you have a huge inventory. You can only carry like 3 healing items at a time. It's very stupidly stilted in a way that makes it super hard, but it's a lot of fun gameplay.
Yeah.
And so,
what else did you play besides Ninja Gaiden? Sekiro?
WWE 18. I had to. I had to see it. That's it. And promptly was like, this game sucks.
Okay, good.
It's trash. But it's made by 2K.
Okay.
The same guys who do the basketball, who have the licensed basketball game.
Yeah, who also do like a lot of things.
Is
it made by them, or is it just like produced?
I think it's developed by. I think like in the same way that 2K basketball has a number and comes out every year. This is WWE 18, so they've been making these. They got the rights to be the WWE's video game.
So basically, this is like the game they give the interns. They're like, yeah, okay, just learn how to code and put some stuff here. And
it's bad. Like the controls are bad. The learning curve is for a wrestling game shouldn't be this high. I didn't like it. And
right.
I tried it for maybe 15 minutes. That was enough time for me to play like 3 or 4 matches. Probably get beat up and be like, I'm not getting any better at this. This is a wrestling game that you have to
be good at?
Be really good at?
That shouldn't be the case.
That should not at all. It should be fun. It should be like
an easy
kind of throw thing. It's way involved, and there's no tutorial, so they don't teach you any of the move sets and how to do something. I mean, they do.
You love the tutorials.
I like just being.
How are you doing with Sekiro's pseudo tutorials?
Those are great. They were fine, but I had been clocking that game for a long time, so it didn't.
See, I think Sekiro is going to open you up into Dark Souls 3.
I don't think so.
So I think you're going to keep playing.
I will keep playing, and
you're going to like this. You're going to get to
I like Sekiro. Yeah. Sekiro is good because it puts you in the mindset of a shinobi.
Right.
You're a single dude against overwhelming odds, and you have to get your mission accomplished.
Right.
Which led me to the other game that I ended up playing for PlayStation. It was Sniper Elite 4.
Oh, is this the really bloody one?
I don't think. It's the one with the bullet time where you'll shoot a guy and then it'll slow down and you'll see the bullet tear through his insides and stuff like that, and they reward you for that. It's awesome.
Oh, this game's not too old. This is PS4 2017.
Aha! It's fucking awesome. And this
right, you get the X-ray kill cam.
Yeah, it's basically like in Mortal Kombat where you see them break up the insides of a person. It does that with a bullet.
Yeah.
So I love these. I love this game. It's
it has some accolades.
It's a lot of fun, and it's basically kind of like Sekiro, but with a gun.
Yeah, cool.
You're a lone sniper, and they drop you in these. This one is set in Italy, and they drop you off in these varying Italian topographies, and they set you against the Nazis, and you got to take down the Nazis with your sniper rifle in any way you can.
Right.
It's really involved and really kind of a lot of fun. Like when you do something you'll take down an enemy and then booby trap his body and bait other enemies to come and check on him, and then when that trap goes off, seeing that happen in slow-mo bullet time as a bunch of Nazis get exploded by a body bomb. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you need Nazis so that you can do stuff like that and not feel bad at all.
And not feel bad at all. I put so many rounds through Nazi skulls and eyeballs in the last 48 hours. I feel better about life. I feel better. I'm like, fascism.
So from the moment that you sit down, you turn on your PlayStation, it revs up like an aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the PlayStation Now and you find the game that you want to play. Mm-hmm. How long does it take to load up and do all that stuff?
Less than a minute.
Okay, seconds. So super quick, and you're playing
pretty
the game.
Quickly.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Pretty quickly, and it's
and you're streaming.
You're streaming it.
Yeah,
you're streaming it.
I guess this is the future of gaming. You think?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Because it has all the same bells and whistles as if I had a disc in the system. It records, your achievements, same way. All that stuff is still there.
Yeah,
it's just that it's immediate.
Right,
it's immediate. There's no load time. Well, I have to load. How when you buy a disc, you have to take it home, put it in your machine.
Then it loads.
It has to load and do all that. The loading time is basically,
or you have to go online, the PlayStation Store,
right?
Download it, and it still takes time to download it. So this is just immediate.
This is immediate. It's immediate video game gratification in the same way that you would be I want to see Punch Drunk Love, which is on Netflix.
Because the reason I ask is there's a lot of games like Sniper Elite, which I'll see in the store, and I'll be like, I'm not going to get that.
But I'd like to play it.
But I'd like to play it for a few minutes.
And this is exactly what it is. And it's not just like all PS3 games. Like they had NBA 2K18, they had Mortal Kombat 10, like the one that came out last year before this new one.
Right.
So it's a deep library of stuff that like you'd be like, oh yeah, I saw that. I wanted to play that. The thing for me is like a lot of the games that I wanted to play, I found a way to I played them. I got them on sale or whatever. This is like. It's just so deep.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to grab you as a game.
I feel like this is something that you would 100% totally be into, based on how like I've seen you play games and like never finish them.
Right,
like, you could literally.
I'm officially back into Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, PS4.
For you. Did you? So good.
Yeah.
Great.
So I just did like a Tombstone mission yesterday. I'm playing it little by little every night.
And how's the story? And this story, how's the story?
The story is great so far. Yeah, I'm still Doc Ock is like developing his arms, and obviously I know where it's going.
Right. But he's sort of still the sympathetic character that you father figure that you need him to be and sort of want him to be. And,
yeah, it's like super super fun and interesting, and also really boring at the same time. I can't explain it.
Fascinating.
Because I have about an hour to play. And then I get bored with it, and I'm like, but that's fine for me. That's about as much as I play video games anyways.
Have you reached the peak of your like level up skill? Because once you stop doing like the what I call filler missions and like stick to the yellow main story ones.
I'm still doing filler missions. I'm still getting all the skills. Yeah. I'm actually starting to use more of those like electric web things, traps.
Yeah, well,
because some of the fighting actually did start to ramp up and get a little harder, which I appreciated because it was so easy in the beginning.
If you go into the DLC, if you end up playing the DLC is very much a mixed bag of a lot of different enemy types, new enemy types,
right?
Things you hadn't seen before.
Yeah, they even commented in the game. He's like, "Oh, more demon gang members. Like, how are there so many of these?" Like, he's making sort of these self-aware quips about how, about how it's a video game essentially. Yeah.
So so it was that. Yeah. So it was WWE, Sniper Elite, Ninja Gaiden, and Sekiro.
Yeah.
And then on the other aspect, I went all anime this week with the usual suspect caveats, Swamp Thing, the ones I always talk about.
Right. What was the best anime that you watched?
Honestly, it was one that I had to go back to. I hadn't seen in a while. Kill La Kill.
Attenhat! Your student council president, Satsuki Kiryuin! Hell!
Fear is freedom! Subjugation is liberation! Contradiction is truth! Those are the facts of this world! And you will all surrender to them! You pigs in human clothing!
Kill La Kill.
Yeah. Kill L.A. Kill space L.A. Kill.
Okay, let's see here.
It's
okay.
stylistically, culturally, and expressionally dope. And I would argue that it's probably one of the strongest feminine or feminist animes I've seen in a while.
Right. So there was also a video game adaptation.
Yeah, they made a video game out of it. I didn't.
It hasn't come out yet. It comes out very soon.
Oh, really?
July 25th.
Oh, they're making a video game.
Yeah, July 25th in Japan, 2019.
It's an incredible piece of
North
anime.
America the next day.
It's an incredible piece of anime. And how I got onto it was I started my week watching this anime called Garo Vanishing Line.
Okay.
And it's a Japanese anime that I think is directed and drawn by a Korean anime house.
Okay.
So it's stylistically it's a little different than what you would typically see it as a Japanese anime. But I had issues with it because stylistically it was really cool and really eccentric, but it was hard to watch.
Okay.
Especially when the action picked up. Like I wanted to see it better. It suffered from that same thing that first Transformers movie suffered from when the Transformers were transforming.
Right.
When you're like, what?
And that was at
what am I looking?
And
at?
that was at its peak in Transformers 2, where they basically threw out all rules and like they can transform in any direction at any time into anything. And you're like, what?
It was like when they were transforming, you were like, I don't know what I'm looking at or where I should be placing my focus on, and that's what this anime suffered from. But the story was really good. The art style, the art direction was really good. I like the characters and the story. I said story already, but like it was a really good. It was 24 episodes, so it did a really good job of being concise and telling a really great story, and it had some really great stylistic elements. So
what is this?
It's called Garo, Garo, Vanishing Line.
They're called horrors, monsters that prey on humans. Greed, envy, hatred, despair. People caught up in those feelings get twisted, turned into creatures of darkness. I'm a Makai Knight. It's my job to destroy horrors.
I know precisely what the future holds in store for you. Come, let's talk of El Dorado.
And what that did, it took me down a rabbit hole of watching animes that were stylish.
Oh, see, this looks more like my speed. This looks interesting.
It's very cool.
Set in a giant metropolis of Russell City, the man with the latest title of Garu, the Makai Knight Sword, secretly protects the city from horrors which can possess humans.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's like
what's that? The other one, Night Hunter, Night City, Night. What's the other guy? We even did a slight review of it. Demon City.
Yeah. It's a lot like Demon City, but these people are knights.
Cool.
It's like an order of knights, like protecting humanity from horrors. Yeah, basically people who get overwhelmed by like tragedy or sadness or anything kind of like that turn into these monsters that then feed on humanity. And this guy sort of like this guy is part of an organization that sort of undercover protects humanity on the low. But basically it jumped me off down this rabbit hole of watching really stylish animes this week, and I'm trying to remember all. Well,
so that was 24 episodes, and then Kill La Kill, the one you were talking about before, which follows a vagrant schoolgirl Ryuko Matoi on her search for her father's killer, which brings her to a violent conflict with another character.
Right.
That one, how many episodes was that? Only like 10? 9?
No, it's about, I think it's the same. I think it's 24.
Okay.
I think it's 24 episodes too. It's on Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix.
This one. Okay, where was the other one? Where's
the other one I got off of gogoanime.net.
Got it, okay.
And
if you guys want to watch these.
Yeah, Kill la Kill you should definitely watch. I would actually say that I think Laurel might dig it too.
Okay.
It's very, like I said, it's culturally dope because she's a Japanese high school student. It's a murder mystery revenge saga, but with some of the best stylistic animation, and like it's baudy in the way that like Mad Magazine.
Laurel likes the body stuff, yeah.
Like the way Mad Magazine is baudy. So I highly recommend it. It jumped me off down this rabbit hole of doing like stylishly, like I said, and like for the third or fourth time animes this week. The other one was Final Space.
The war for your universe has begun. The time has come for you to free me. Otherwise, no one, past, present, or future, will survive.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Our journey leads to Final Space.
Yeah, Team Squad, yes!
My first high five, and it was a threesome.
And I think I don't know its history, and I don't know how we started watching it, but I think I started watching based on what Laurel. Remember Laurel last week? She was like
crew-based
sci-fi stories.
Yeah,
and this is one of those, but it's completely animated. And I want to say it got started on Adult Swim.
Yeah, it says it's an American space opera comedy drama television series created by Olin Rogers for cable networks TBS and Cartoon Network.
I know Fred Armisen is one of the cast members.
Nice. Is it? So it's comedy.
It's a hella comedy.
Yeah.
So basically, the main.
Wait. Which one is this one on?
I think it's on TBS.
TBS.
I think it started on Adult Swim, had a little run, and then lost its run there, and then TBS picked it up because the sources that I was watching it on, at the bottom of the screen, it had TBS written on it. There was like TBS stamps all over it, but TBS and Cartoon Network stamps on it.
Oh, this is I see. I see the animation style is much more almost like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's almost like it felt like a Rick and Morty kind of like heir apparent.
It says it's on Netflix too.
Is it?
Yeah.
If it's on Netflix, I highly recommend it.
Is this appropriate for the girls?
No.
Okay.
No. Neither is Kill La Kill.
Yeah, because this looks like something they'd be into, but it's not.
I honestly, like, now that I think about it, yeah, they could watch it.
My kids' lives are in your hand, man.
No, they could watch it. I'm thinking Kill La Kill. Kill La Kill is something that that shouldn't be for them. But no, Final Space they could watch. It's like especially Penn. Penn would like a lot of that humor.
We were having a discussion, another parent and I had let my kids watch Stranger Things, and my daughter's almost 10, and my youngest daughter is 7. And they're just, they're fine with it. It's not like it's not scary to them. No, they're more interested in the teenage drama.
Of course they are.
Than they are about the horror aspects. Even though they love horror.
Do you remember when we were watching Spider-Man and the scene where Mary Jane kisses Peter Parker?
The upside down, the Tobey Maguire?
The
newest one. Oh, Far From Home. Yes.
And remember and there was like that row of girls behind us who were like.
Well, that was that family. Remember when we were walking in, and there was like this
family trying to find
huge black family of like 20, and they were
huge, not like they were weight,
like
multiples of them,
like 20 of them.
It wasn't 20. It was maybe like 5 or 6.
No, there was a lot.
There was not 20 motherfuckers
there was
in that hallway.
One cute little old lady in charge, and she was standing in front of Aladdin,
right?
And they were trying to find the
movie
theater.
You came in your white savior cape and saved them and told them the theater was down the street.
And they said, "Thank you very much, young sir."
Thank you very much.
So that's in my mind who was sitting. I'm pretty sure that was them sitting behind us.
No, it wasn't those guys. It was literally like 5 or 6 teenage girls, maybe a little older than Penn, who had come to see the movie without chaperonage. But when they kissed out, they completely lost their minds. And Penn leans over to me, like, and just straight up leans over to me and goes like, "I've seen kissing before, and I didn't react like that."
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, why are you telling me? You're 9. Stop talking to me.
And that's what I was explaining to like this other parent. I was like, look, they don't care.
They don't. They don't. I feel like they've. Well, I mean,
it wasn't like this was it wasn't like Stranger Things was the first thing they ever watched, and I was like, sit down and watch it.
Your daughter wants to see Annabelle, that movie about
Daisy,
it's like Child's Play, but
they want to see Child's Play too. And I'm like, no, not yet. That's the gore factor is too much, You
think it's gory?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah, probably.
It's gonna be really too gory. I don't mind like scary.
Nah,
but
like
when it gets gory, suspense. I don't want them to see like that.
Yeah. You're right.
I have appreciation for that.
No, you're right.
There's a movie that I watched this week.
Well, Annabelle's probably less gory than it is.
You don't know though. You have to see.
Well, apparently Daisy knows. She was like, "Well, I was like, wait, you saw Annabelle?" She's like, "Well, actually, I just saw the first 20 minutes of it while I was at my friend's house." I was like, "Oh."
And this goes back to Logan because Logan is super gory,
right. And I think that's why I'm like, if they were okay with like seeing Logan, because I'm trying to think about like me as a kid. I saw Predator when I was like Penn's age.
Yeah, same with me. Terminator. My parents sat me down and watched it. Yeah. I think you just feel your kids out, and if like, because Lucian downstairs, he wanted to come see Spider-Man,
but he's scared of everything.
But he gets scared in movie theaters, and he felt really bad because it was my birthday, and he was like, "Tell her I'm sorry, I wanted to go as his birthday, but I don't want to go see the movie theater." So that was kind of like one of the best presents I got, was some little kid who cared that much. I was like, I was just going to take you off your parents' hands, man. Really, it's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, Lush.
Because being at the theater with a bunch of kids is fun,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
That was the main draw for Spider-Man for me.
Like I thought I was going to watch the movie like by myself. I basically had Daisy sit on my lap the entire time.
I didn't think she was going to make it the whole movie.
No,
I had like a whole chair.
And then like started like halfway through the movie started playing with like my reclining seat like during moments. She's like, but like, stop it. Stop hitting the recline button. I like the recline we're at.
The food issues. There were so many food issues with that movie too.
I think you like Alamo because they serve food.
I just like eating while I watch a movie.
You could do that in a regular movie. Just bring your own shit, bro.
I can't get Thai chicken wings. I can't get.
Yeah, you can. You order those motherfuckers before you go in.
You can get beer. French
yeah,
fries.
you can. They got bodegas everywhere in this city.
But there's somebody behind me who's gonna be like, I smell French
Who
fries.
gives a fuck what? Hey, I bought my ticket like that motherfucker. But if he wasn't smart enough to bring his own chicken and beer, then that's on him.
Rob, I'm a white guy. I cannot offend people.
This is America. I think you can. I think that has been proven a fact that yes, you can offend people and get wholeheartedly away with it. So. Enjoy your privilege a little bit more is what I'm saying, homie.
Watch the Aziz Ansari. The only two
Enjoy
things,
your privilege a little
Aziz
bit more.
Ansari right now was one of two things I watched.
Okay.
I watched it last night, and it's great. It talks about
You
all
liked
this
it?
stuff.
I thought he uses the term white people a lot in that.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't know for what reason why it clocked my ear so hard, but I was like, they're probably not going to give him no more specials. That's immediately where I was going.
No,
I was like,
I disagree. So this one's directed by Spike Jonze, and there's moments in it that are very, very moving. He asks the crowd at one moment to like close your eyes and like think about like the last time that you had a good time with your parents, and like like it's like really like because he's coming off
very personal.
Yes, incredibly
more personal than any of the previous ones I've seen him do,
and more mature as well.
I agree.
I don't
like he didn't have the suit on. He just came out and like.
In a Metallica t-shirt.
Yeah, he just came out like the way Dave Chappelle comes out now. Like there was no like pretense. Oh, this is my special. So there was no John Mulaney-esque nature to it, where I'm gonna come out in a full suit. And he actually would like this was the first special I saw where he wasn't like running around the stage. He basically just came out and sat on the stool and like talked to the audience for a good. I guess it was an hour or whatever.
Interesting times for white people. I've been observing you. I see what's going on. You're trying really hard to be nice to minorities in a way I've never seen before. Putting in the time, putting in the effort, getting out there, watching Crazy Rich Asians. White people went in droves. Very cool. Any white people here see Crazy Rich Asians? Raise your hands. Anybody? Yeah. You, ma'am, in the front, you saw it? Yeah, it had like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. You think it was that good? 97%? Maybe a little less. What number would you give it? 85. Wow. 12% less. Anything in particular you didn't like that made you dock it 12 points, man? Are you nervous right now? I'm just messing with you. It doesn't matter what you think about the movie. It's just fun to make white people feel bad. And
it's a very funny 2019, highly contemporary things called Right Now.
Right.
It's a way to really kind of talk about all of these issues and these sort of outrages and these types of things, and make it funny. And it doesn't feel necessarily dangerous in a way that like I'm gonna laugh at this or I'm gonna enjoy this and I shouldn't. Because a lot of different type of comedy is based on things that we know are inappropriate. But we're still laughing because it's so inappropriate. That's not what this feels like. Do you have an
example of one? Like what do you mean? Like
just typical. I don't have an example, but
because I would say I disagree. I feel like comedy these days is less about laughing at stuff that you shouldn't laugh at, and more about speaking a little bit of truth to people who maybe haven't heard it in a while.
Right.
Like remember Dave Chappelle a few specials back got a lot of flack from the transgender community,
right?
For some of the stuff that he said in that. And I recently went back and kind of watched it. It didn't make it into what I was into this week, but I remember I clocked it being like, let me see what he was saying. And basically all he was saying is like, stop taking yourself so seriously, and you've gotten this far. Take your chips and get out of the casino. That was a major joke.
Yeah.
But like there was a lot of people that felt like he had gone too far. He had and I don't think I listened to it again. I don't think he said anything that was out of pocket or like disrespectful. These were jokes, and he was just expressing like, how is it that these people's this particular group of people's rights have gotten to the forefront of our knowledge, whereas black people who have been here all along screaming these same things have been relegated. And that was basically what the joke
as well.
That was basically what the joke was saying, and then people kind of like lambasted him for it.
Right.
I'm like, I don't get. So I feel like a lot of it is not so much. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing at this. It's more about like, laugh at yourself. At least try to.
Yeah, I think safe is not the right word, but this Aziz Ansari special, every word is perfect. Like, he talks about the thing that happened with him last year where the woman came out, the enthusiastic consent thing that we were talking about. And his wording on that is so specific and so safe. He never says he's angry. He says he has all these emotions of confused and pain, and you think he's going to say angry, but he doesn't, because there's almost, he knows exactly the right word to say to not cause any more backlash from this thing. But while still addressing it, because he knows that that's immediately what everybody kind of wants to hear about. And
right.
You can't really. I guess he could do the comedy special and ignore all that.
I remember that he addressed it right at the top of the special. He was like, I had a lot of emotions, and like I said, I fell asleep halfway through, so I don't remember. Did he ever circle back to make jokes about it, or because it seemed like he just came out and addressed it? It was like, hey, this is how I feel about what went down last year. I have a lot of these emotions.
Yeah.
And then he just went on with the special.
I think he's just very smart. He's too smart to like. So
there was no, he didn't make anything. There was no levity about what had happened. It was just, hey, this is what happened. I felt the ways about it. Now here's the comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, there's a joke at the end of it, or at the end of that little bit, but it's not based on anything that actually happened. It's, if he's gonna joke on the situation, it's more about himself. You know what I mean? It's very tactful and smart way of kind of doing comedy and addressing this issue and saying that, well, yeah. And basically what we've talked about in the show, like, yeah, that issue is important. You know, consent is important. Just like Laurel said last week, that like, that while that specificity of that situation was like kind of like muddied,
right?
If it makes other
guys
clock
themselves in a new light, it was for the
exactly.
good.
And he says he has friends who came up to him and said, after this thing happened to you, I'm now looking at every date that ever went on and talking. Yeah, but he has this one moment in it. There's lots of moments I love, but there's one moment where he's talking about. He's like, isn't that the dream, though, to like look back at 2019 and say, yeah, I don't know what was up with that. Things were fucked up. Like, we look back at the 1950s and segregation and all these different things, and we say, wow, that was calling black people coloreds and these things. That was so fucked up, you know, calling, you know, gay people fags or whatever. That was so fucked up. And isn't that the dream now, to look at where we're at right now in 2019 and 20 years from now and think, man, we were so backwards and so like I think, uninformed and so unwoke and yada yada.
Well, I think that way of thinking is how a lot of, you know, racist people tend to. It's one of their arguments. They're like, well, look at how far we've come. ... But at the same time, we haven't.
Yeah. The wording's changed.
The wording is, and this is why I guess I still am an actor, because I feel like words are so fucking important.
Yeah.
And that a lot of what our job, not only is our job people, but it's people and words, and how those two things kind of coalesce together.
Right. But the actions has the actions and the morality changed?
No, I don't think so.
Not as significantly as like
they have, but not exactly like what you're just about to say. Not as significantly as maybe
the difference between these are the words you can say and these are the words you can't say. Right. Patton Oswalt had a good special a few years back.
Is this the one post his wife dying?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. It was actually I remember it because it was such a phenomenal piece of work, having his wife just pass.
Right.
And like the fact that like his wife's work helped catch like this cold case killer in California.
Right.
Like there was all these things that lined up for him to stand up there and do that special with like all the heart and determination and humor that he did.
Right.
Which I think it makes sense that like I think really good comedians have a very high level of trauma or sadness in their lives that informs their comedy. Like I think the reason that Dave Chappelle is such a great comedian is because there is some level of trauma as being a black man in America, in Hollywood, for as long as he has been, that informs his comedy in a way that lets him get up there and tell stories
right.
the way he tells them, and you could be like, fuck, That's real, but that's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like his last one, like this little the anecdote about Iceberg Slim and the Pimp and how he like lays out the like this doctrine or this ideology from the 1950s, written by this black dude that informs what's going on today based on the prism of a 40-some-odd-year-old black man comedian.
Sure.
I think for every really great artist, there's a high level of sadness, or trauma that goes into their art.
And one of the things that Patton Oswalt says, sort of at the end of that special, I think it's that special where he's like, yeah, there's older guys, there's older generations that come from a different culture or that matured in a different culture. They may say the wrong words, but their intentions are correct, and intentions are important.
I think that's what Joe Biden is going through right now.
Yeah, amongst a lot of other things.
Yeah, amongst other things, but like,
yeah,
that's kind of what he's dealing with.
But that's the point I think that Aziz is trying to make with this special, is that the cultural context is very important. To look back 20, 30 years in the future to now, our culture is this way, and we think that we're like the most woke dudes on the planet, or the most whatever, you know what I mean? But like we're essentially kind of still idiots, just like.
Well, how old is America? Because America just celebrated a birthday. How old is America?
Like 42 years old.
40, America 45. Wishes it was 42.
Something like that. I couldn't tell you exactly.
Actually, I think it's 243, maybe.
Yeah.
So America is not even.
Yeah, we're babies.
Yeah.
Or teenagers, maybe.
Maybe teenager.
Maybe
preteen.
Preteens.
America basically is like Penn.
Yeah. Oh,
and Penn lies and
lies?
not very well. And
yeah, but I wouldn't say she's racist.
No, I'm not equivocating Penn to America.
Yeah.
I'm equivocating her age to about the age of someone around Penn's age who, like, they lie because they don't want to get into trouble, or they lie because it's second nature.
Right. The other thing I watched this week was Brightburn.
Right.
And it was the
shit show.
Best movie. It was a shit show. It was. Have you seen it?
No, I didn't want to. Remember when we were having discussions of whether to see it in the theater, and I was like, don't, because the comic book version of this was better.
Who am I? You are a gift. I know it's been difficult for you lately that you feel different from other kids. You are different. After your dad and I got married, we prayed for a baby for so long. One night, someone listened.
It has a 6.3 out of 10.
Really? That bad?
And I would say
I love Elizabeth Banks.
Yes, I do too. I would say it's even lower than that. I would give it, like, if I'm going to give it a scale from 1 to 10, it's definitely a fart, but I would give it a 4.
Really?
Like, it is atrociously written. It is just
really
like it is bad. It's just really, really, really
okay.
bad.
Okay, what about the performances? Because sometimes the movie may be bad, but the performances, like Johnny Depp, might have done some shit, but
they don't even. They have Elizabeth Banks. They have
that's it.
David Denman, who you've seen before.
Okay,
those are the kind of the two stars,
and then the kid,
played by Brandon Breyer, right?
Right.
No, played by Jackson A. Dunn. That's the Breyer family. And basically, the premise is it's just Superman. I mean,
I know. It's
I'm telling you, this is for Mom and Dad and for Jeff Galfer.
Okay. Right, go ahead.
Right. So Jeff, the premise basically is
so Jeff.
this kid, just like Superman, comes to Earth. The parents want a baby. They can't have a baby.
He shows up in a field.
They find him. They pull him out of a meteor out of a spaceship, and they grow up. But it is the pacing of it is so fast and so quick that it's like they
don't give you enough time to.
You don't even know who the protagonist is in the movie. You don't even know who.
I thought it was Elizabeth Banks. It's her.
No, I mean, sort of by the end it is, but by the time all the stuff starts going bad, because obviously the kid goes evil and starts killing people, you don't really know why you're watching. It's like,
did they explain why the kid goes bad, or is he just
yes?
Meh?
Okay, so here's what we'll do. Okay, you know the Superman story, right? In about 60 seconds, write your version of this movie where Superman goes bad for me. What's just
write this version?
Just give me 60 seconds of some plot points.
Okay, so
kid crashes on
Earth, gets found by human parents, starts to grow up. I don't know, maybe he gets addicted to YouTube, maybe he gets addicted to Facebook, maybe he starts seeing images on the planet that make him feel like, hey, I'm strong enough to slap some of these motherfuckers around, so I start doing that.
Okay, that was already a way better version, and you did it in 60 seconds than what this movie is.
So it's not. It's
and
not
he basically opens. He's a kid, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he hears something in the barn. He goes to the barn, and a red light flashes on him, and he becomes evil.
Really?
That's it. They don't show you the kid before any of this. They don't show you any situations of who this kid was. He walks the bar,
gets hit with a red light, and then
because it's like a spaceship. His spaceship.
Oh, the spaceship throws some stuff. Oh, okay.
Spaceship calls to him,
and then it throws. We can assume that it throws something into his head, and now he's okay.
And then he's evil from that point on in the movie. But because they never show you him just being a kid, never show his parents interacting with him as a normal kid, you have no sense of loss. You have no sense of who this kid is. No sense of disappointment.
So there's no shots of him like playing with other kids, like going to school, like them. Nope. Oh, we're so happy that we finally have this baby now.
Nope.
None of that.
None of that. All that. The best part of Man of Steel in the beginning, when it's like he's a young kid and he's like he saves that school bus, saves those kids.
Right.
Like that's the premise. Give us this kid who's like a superhero, right? And then show him struggling to be good or struggling to be bad, and ultimately succumbing to being bad.
Right.
None of that is in this movie. He gets hit by this beam of light from his spaceship, and he's bad from that point on to the end.
And
with questionable motivations.
And his parents are like, "Oh, it's okay."
Spoilers for Brightburn, because I'm going to ruin it here.
Just ruin it, because no one's going to see it.
I almost to the point where I would say, don't even watch it. Like, it's not even worth it.
Wow, it's like that.
It's like that. Like,
I've never heard you say don't watch a thing.
The only reason I'm bringing it up for what we into is because it's like in our wheelhouse of basically superhero content.
Right.
Yeah. And
wow, you felt that strong. Like, you're like, this is not even worth the viewership.
No. Your imagination in that 60 seconds was way more interesting.
Hour and a half?
Yeah, about an hour and a half, yeah.
Wow.
Super bad, super terrible. The father at one point ends up... Because they find him and he's a little kid, and they can't have their own kid, and they raise him for 10 years.
Oh, so it's set in now.
It definitely feels written by people who are not parents, who've never parented, who've never had a kid, and have no idea what is interesting about this premise.
Really?
I don't know how this got made. I know James Gunn... and Mark Gunn, Brian Gunn, those are all kind of the writers. So it's like the Gunn brothers, basically. These are the guys who did Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
So somehow I bet James kind of stepped in and helped them get funding for this.
But the other brothers were sort of responsible for, like,
to say writers, it's almost like writers in quotes, because the script is astonishingly bad and astonishingly just like underwritten. It's like somebody, like if you gave me a day and said, here's the premise, write it, I would come up with this version or a way better version than this in one single day. Like, it's like they had a first draft and they never went back and wrote anything else and never gave it to anybody who'd actually ever read comics and said, what do you like about this? How can it be better? I mean, I just don't understand how it even got made. Like, I think they just had the premise and they got it made simply off the premise and had no script and just improv'd it the whole way through. Wow. Even that probably would have been better, because the actors' impulses probably would have brought in something of value to it.
Wow.
The only
it didn't do well at the theaters.
I don't think it had a high budget. Let me see if I can find the budget here. I don't even care.
I do not feel like it did well at the theaters.
So it had a $7 million budget. So it was definitely on the low end.
It was definitely like meager.
Right? Yeah.
It was meager.
It did not need. You could have done with that. All the special effects.
It made its money back, though.
Yeah, it made its money back, because in the first opening week it made $7.8 million.
So it made its money back by a little bit.
Yeah, it grossed total in the U.S. $17 million, worldwide $28 million. So it was a triple success. It tripled its budget,
tripled
basically.
Its money.
So we'll probably see a sequel.
Oh God!
And there was some talk about it, and it was just
that bad.
I wanted to watch it because I wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? And I was watching with Laurel, and we were just like,
"What did Laurel think?
How is this so bad?" It's not even. It's not even bad in a way that like you should watch it because it's so bad.
Like
it's just
like Demolition Man.
It's just bad, and exactly. That's not even bad.
See, I don't know, because I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine. I was like, I feel like Demolition Man is bad, but the right kind of bad.
Yes, exactly. Okay, sure. This is bad
because He-Man could like. There's a lot of these movies in the '80s that were considered bad,
right?
But were bad with good intent. Big Trouble in Little China. That was bad movie.
This makes like He-Man. This makes like Demolition Man look like an Oscar-winning movie.
Wow.
Like, even the motivations are bizarre. There's a moment where like he's there and he's trying to scare the kid's trying to scare his aunt, but his uncle comes home. He's at a different house and he confronts his uncle and sort of attacks his uncle, right? And the uncle knows that his wife is in the house.
Okay.
And the uncle just gets in his truck and drives
away.
Off. like what?
Baby, meet me in the driveway. This motherfucker's trying to kill us.
Yes.
Like nothing?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing. Like just leaves his wife in the house.
Do you remember when this movie was like on the approach to the theaters and we were talking about whether or not to go see it, and I was like, don't do that.
Yeah. It looked like a movie that was in our wheelhouse and maybe we should check it out, and I'm so glad. Don't even waste your time to watch this movie.
Like, just some of the posters have him in like a mask. Like, what's the motivation for wearing this mask? Like, how does he?
There's none. I mean, he's not even aware of like superheroes. That's the thing.
What I was gonna say. Like how does he get to
villains.
this cape and this like conceal your identity type thing, and then the symbol that he's like running around burning into everything? Is that something that the spaceship
That's
shot
his name.
into
His name is like Brian Briars, so it's two B's back to back that looks like a diamond.
I see.
What?
I see. Okay.
There's no awareness of superheroes at all. It's like superheroes are not even in this world. He doesn't have comic books. He doesn't have like anything on his posters on the wall. It's just nothing.
He just shows up and now he's bad and now he's a kid, kid Superman.
Yes.
Okay.
But I can't even explain how bad it is. I almost want you to watch it just because it's so bad.
I'm gonna have to now. I feel like if I find a good torrent for it, I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole and be like,
There's two moments of intense gore where like a guy gets his jaw kind of ripped off, which is really cool. And there's a moment where a girl gets something stuck in her eye.
I remember.
Piece of glass.
I saw that on like that's a trailer from the Red Tube,
right?
Where like it's like the diner woman or whatever,
right?
And then like something happens, like the glass breaks and it shoots into her eye, and then you see the moment of her pulling it out of her fucking eye.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so it's just like it feels bro-y though. Like some dudes, it would be really cool if we just made this really gory. I'm like, dude, just focus on the story a little bit more.
Wrong.
Yeah,
I don't. I feel like maybe that's what was kind of I was like, this feels like maybe like a bro movie.
It's got financed $7 million. I mean, I will say for $7 million, it looks good.
Yeah, they did due diligence.
They did due diligence. They made money off of it, but the script is a dumpster fire.
Okay. Okay.
Got anything else? You want to jump into Stranger Things?
One last thing, and it wasn't. It was, and I only mentioned it to sort of round out the fact that I was watching anime. It was called Dances with Dragons.
I want you to meet my good friend and servant. Pick this one just for you.
This is bad news. Let us now share in the banquet of battle! Sparks fly as the blades of two separate lives meet in combat. And for a single moment, the world and I share the same pulse.
Did I mention I hate you?
And I hate you just as much, if not more, so we should get along fine.
Ooh, sounds cool.
It sounds cooler than it actually ended up being. And like I said, I got into it because it was a stylized anime, and I liked the style, and I liked sort of the anime, and I liked the kind of story that they in this one. I like animes that like teach you something.
Sure.
And this is one of those that like had the inklings of like, the animes that will like drop like string theory or like quantum physics into an episode and sort of like do that for you.
No, I don't know that at all.
So you never watch? Oh no shit. See, I feel like that's why I get down on anime so much, because there are animes that will teach you some shit. They'll teach you about quantum physics. They'll teach you about string theory, all while under the guise or the backing of like wizards,
sure,
or like something to do with the scientific world. Oh, that was the other one that that perfectly reminded me. There was another one, Dr. Stone.
Okay,
it just came out. It's like the first episode I watched this last week, and basically like it deals with science. Like the main character is a scientist who gets stuck in stone for I guess 3,000 years or something, and then wakes up and has to like put the world back in order using science. And it's one of these animes that it's stylistically like it's tropey, but it's stylized trope,
right?
And it has a science bent to it. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to wait till this queues up a bit and then watch it in bulk. called Dr. Stone.
Right. So back to Dances with Dragons.
Dances with Dragons.
Is it at all like Dances with Wolves? Is Kevin Costner in it?
Not at all. It's basically like...
Is there any horses?
It's like a political intrigue with science-based magic.
Sure. Well,
like at the top of this, humanity has figured out how to break the rules of physics using this weird technology, and now this technology is being used to sort of subjugate brown people and sort of the political sides of how these people are. It's only 12 episodes, so it's a really quick hit, and it ends pretty.
Is it that much focus on racism?
You know, some of the characters are clearly brown, and some of the characters are white as a ghost, and it deals with like the church, and there's like a religious aspect to it.
It sounds like a nightmare. Seriously,
it kind of mirrors the world right now in a way that I guess what kept me watching it, because I don't think it's the strongest as far as like the storytelling goes.
It's old too, 2003.
It's old?
Yeah, 2003 to 2006.
Yeah. But it actually, the story that it tells is kind of compelling for 2019. I was like, oh,
okay,
political intrigue, and so it follows these pair of basically they're like Dean and what's his face from. They're like Supernatural. It's like Supernatural, but with a science bent rather than a supernatural bent.
Cool.
But yeah, that was what I was into this week. Anime and video games.
We are going to end you. We are going to end your friends. Then we are going to end everyone.
Our kids are in danger.
We need to end this. I can fight.
Better than any of us. But I need you safe. What the hell?
I need you to trust me.
Holy mother of God.
Go back and watch Stranger Things at all?
I wanted to, but I felt like I saw it the day it came out, so it was which was I guess July 5th.
Yeah.
So or 4th. It was
yeah.
fresh enough in my mind. It's only been a few days. I didn't feel like I needed to. I know the hero of this season is a little black girl, so boom.
Little
black girl saves the day.
She's so obnoxious.
Yeah, I know, and she's a nerd shamer. She's a nerd shamer. You shouldn't like her at all. But she's basically the Steve of season 3.
I think Steve is the Steve of season 3.
And in what way? The fact that he gets his ass whooped and then shows up?
He was my favorite character in this season.
Really? Steve was my favorite character from the last 2 seasons.
I don't know if he was definitely not the first season.
Not the first season so much. It was, but definitely the second season for sure. He was the hero of the second season.
I loved him in this season because he gets nothing he wants. He's the popular guy in high school, and now he's getting nothing.
Shit. Yeah.
Nothing. All he's getting is beat up by Russians.
Beat up by Russians and rejected by the one girl he thought he might have like an actual future with.
Spoiler alert for Stranger Things.
You gonna spoil it right now? Don't tell them right now.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. Okay, well, you want to do a spoiler-free?
I want to try
plot. Yeah, you try. I like you that you're enthusiastic about it. I hate doing it.
So, and as I mentioned last week, I feel like this season was a little bit of a return to form. Still not a great, overall thing, but it was a return to form for Stranger Things in a way that I enjoyed personally. So basically, at the start of this season, the kids have survived. Actually, the start of the season starts with Russia. You see scientists doing this experiment, not unlike what you saw in season 2, trying to rip a hole into the Upside Down, and it going horribly wrong. And then you see like this, you see like a Russian higher up be like, you've got 1 year, like in the way that like, big bads do. You have 1 year to produce results. And he says that to like the young scientist after he's just killed like the old scientist. And then that jumps us off into the lives of the kids, who ostensibly are living
back in Hawkins.
Back in Hawkins, living their best lives. Most of them, all of the kids, with the exception of Steve, are living their best lives.
Was this the end of summer? Because they're coming back from camp, right?
Yeah, it would, or middle of summer, because camp doesn't end.
Right.
We'll say midsummer.
Midsummer, okay.
And so, like, the kids are sort of like, reuniting after, being disparate for the summer or whatever. And then this thing starts to happen.
Yeah.
And it kind of jumps off with one of the characters that they introduced last season's brother, Max. Her brother, Billy gets caught up in the mind flayer. He's he's basically patient zero for what happens in the town.
He's the catalyst. He's
patient zero for what happens with the mind flare.
Right.
Which you saw in last season, sort of like get into Will and take over Will and use Will as sort of his catalyst. In this version, he uses Billy, but in a more tactile and profound way. And do they ever? I think they kind of explain how the mind flayers survived. Okay, no. What happened is, so the Russians,
at the end of season 2.
So the Russians were doing their own experiments, and then old boy says you have 1 year. Cut to, there's these weird things start happening in Hawkins, which involve the mind flayer and Billy sort of being patient zero. So basically, the Russians have showed up in Hawkins and started doing the same things that the Americans were doing in season 2, and it's sort of what transpires after that, and kind of what has been affecting the town after.
And that's almost a spoiler itself. So we should just
that's the spoiler free.
It is on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's been a week and a half.
So I pretty much ate it the first day it came out.
I understand why you did, because I didn't have quite the same time that you did, but like I probably got through all 8 episodes, and we were watching some of them with the girls and some of them not. I probably got through them all in like 2 days, about 3-4 a day. Quickly.
Like I said, it's kind of a return to form for like that formula that first season had, where you were invested in wanting to watch it. And I think for me, it kind of dealt with, it was less focus on any particular character, and it was more about the time period.
Right.
Like the introduction of the Russians, I thought was really smart, because it made it topical and kind of made it kind of centristic in the fact that like the 80s was like that Cold War shit. Like this is our wheelhouse.
Sure.
This is where you and I. So like the malls, like hanging out in malls.
Even like their motivations, which was questionable. Like why are they there? What do they want? You don't need to know, because they're just the bad Russians.
They're just
the bad guys.
Right. Like I didn't find it necessary to have their motivations. Like this is a time when America and Russia were doing that shit. They were doing arms races. This was like, who's going to have the best guns? Who's going to have the best kill things?
Who's going to have the best Demogorgon?
Right.
Basically.
So like it made it, and like they even reference it in this movie, Red Dawn.
Right. Yeah.
With Patrick Swayze. Yeah. Like that is the motivation for this. So it makes all the sense in the world. So it was a return to form in that way. I still feel like it was kind of a letdown, because it basically was just a repeat of what we'd already seen.
Yeah, I think the larger problem now is that Hawkins feels, the town of Hawkins, Indiana feels simultaneously sprawling and really small at the same time.
Right.
Because, for example, they have this mall, the Starcourt Mall, which much of the series takes place in.
Right.
Steve and the new character Robin, they work at a ice cream place called Scoops Ahoy. One of my favorite. Like, who do you work for? Scoops Ahoy. But we had a mall like that in Evansville.
We had one in Texas.
Right.
That is a mall that every kid from the 80s knows and remembers.
Right. Exactly.
And doesn't exist anymore.
Orange Julius. Sam Goody,
all those things. Like
Hot Topic was the '90s, but
still, there was that food courts, that level of like awe and like amazement and wanting to be there, without parental supervision was a thing.
And I was talking with Laurel, and she was like, "I never used to go hang out at the mall." I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Well, Laurel's also 10 years older than you.
Yes,
so
But my parents used to just drop us off at the mall.
Exactly.
Here's
like,
$20.
Here's this money. We'll pick you up in 5 hours.
Yes, exactly.
Done.
Boom.
Easy.
Awesome.
That's easy.
We explored the mall.
You know that section where the kids, it's at the top. It's like right after you see the Russians do their thing, and they're going to the mall to see a movie, but they go through one thing into like the employee hallways.
And that's actually the section behind
the shops. Yeah. Like, as someone who's worked in a mall, I know that inherently. Yeah. I know that feeling of being like, yo, I need you to let me go through XYZ so I can get around to blah, blah, blah for whatever.
The other thing I was really shocked by was, and I got a little bit of in the second season, but by this time the third season rolled around, these kids are older. Like, legitimately, you're using these actors, and they've aged. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like more than a year, though. It seems almost like 3 years.
Well, it's been 3 years technically that we've seen we've seen them doing this. So they I think they're very quickly aging out.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this show keeps going, and it will obviously keep going, but it'll keep dealing with them as they age. So when we get to like 16, they're driving.
Why do you say obviously?
18. What do you mean?
You said it'll keep going, obviously.
Yeah.
Why do you say obviously?
Well, because it's a huge success. It's Netflix's #1 show. Like,
is it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm like, why would
I was going to say based on the fact of how it ended.
You think it's just going to end?
No, I was saying, you were saying it's going to keep going, obviously, but I was like, how do you know that? And I was hoping that you were going to come talk about how it ended and how that
Let's talk about a few more things, and we'll get to the end. Just so we'll put that as the bookend. But I would love to see this as them at 21. I would love to see this going.
I would not.
No?
I honestly have issues with the fact that this wasn't the ending. Well, I feel like they should have. I feel like this was a perfect place to sort of wrap it up. The kids have left, or Winona's character and Will and the older.
I'm not helping you because I said we're going to hold the ending till later.
Well, right, all right. Well, I disagree.
Wait, 1 second, because what I was going to talk about with the mall is like, we had our own mall. We had Newburgh, and we had Evansville. Evansville was the big city.
Right.
Newburgh itself had like 6 or 7 cops, their own police, right?
Said 6 or 7.
Exactly. And then that was a suburb of Evansville. Then we got to Evansville. Evansville had like 30 cops. So the idea that like David Harbour's character... Oh, God, I'm drawing a blank now.
I'm not going to help you because you talk about
he's like the sheriff, and he's got like 2 deputies working for him, and he's like the head police guy of all of Hawkins, which also has this mall in it.
Right.
You
don't buy that.
It doesn't make sense anymore, because now the town is much bigger. The fact that we've had 2 seasons with these gigantic things, and this is going to your point towards the end.
Okay.
The fact that we had these 2 gigantic things happen, and this city is still sort of like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I understand what you're saying, where like things have not moved on.
Well, this is. I think what your point is basically highlighting a point that I made when that second season ended, is how nobody ever paid any sort of repercussions for what they did in Hawkins.
Right.
Nothing. Nobody ever paid. They had 2 seasons where this crazy thing happened and a bunch of people got murdered up, and we don't know if it was the government or whatnot, but everybody had lived happily ever after and went to the dance, and it was ho hum, and nothing was a problem.
Particularly the second season ending with that dance.
Particularly with the second season, I think for me the second season ended in a way that I was not excited for this third season.
Right.
And having viewed the third season, I felt like the third season they should have used that to sort of wrap it the fuck up.
Right.
Like, I honestly can't see them. I don't know, like, what this third season, if going forward they make a 4th season.
Right.
What this solidified for me is that Winona Ryder's character can't find a man to save her life. It just like if you're gonna be intimately involved with Winona Ryder's character and Stranger Things, just know that it's probably not gonna work out for you. Just know that
if your name starts with a B. Billy, Bob, and what's Hopper's first name?
Fuck if I know.
Barb. Everybody with a first name that starts with a B dies. Everyone who's died in the show has their name started with a B.
Well, I'm pretty sure Harper's first name didn't start with a B.
So the Duffer Brothers
it was called Jim because his name is Jim Harper.
Jim Harper. Okay, whatever. Well, he's not dead anyways.
Oh, he's not dead?
Oh, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. No way.
based on that track right there, if he is not dead and they bring him back,
yes. Well, you're done. You're tapping out.
No, it's trash. Yeah, it's completely trash.
What about that ladder that they clearly established that the kids went up and down from that area at that time? What about the 3 inches that the gate was open? There's many ways that Jim Hopper could come back, and this is what I was explaining to Penelope. She's like, "It's so sad that Sheriff Hopper died." I'm like, "He's not dead.
He's hella dead.
He's coming back. Coming. Who's the American?"
Okay,
at the end of the end credit scene.
If he's not dead. And you should probably say fucking spoiler at this point because we're well into spoilers, right? If he's not dead, then why is it that literally after the events of what happens with the Russians on the ground, it's 3 months later?
Yeah,
it's 3 months later. So he just took 3 months to recuperate from being, I don't know, molecularly disintegrated. Because that's what happened.
I think they can write it any way they write. An explosion knocked him down the stairwell, and then the Russians found him and took him to Russia.
So the explosion knocked down the stairwell, but everybody else in the room just...
Yeah, I mean this is comic books, man.
No,
this is like
Stranger Things is doing some other shit. This has no basis in any comic reality other than the 80s bent.
But you're already forgetting that we thought 11 was dead at the end of season 1.
No, we didn't.
Okay, yeah.
No, we didn't.
But for a moment.
Your ass might have. I didn't.
Okay, well, I'm not going to be stupid enough to think that Hopper is
Hopper's
dead.
dead than a motherfucker.
He is not dead.
Oh, I'm telling you right
no
now,
way.
He's hella dead.
Then who is the American that the Russian... You saw the post-credit scene, right? You didn't watch the post-credit.
Yeah, where they feed the dude to like a human-looking... because the other ones like that were dog like, and this one was like humanoid,
right?
So obviously they'd still been, I guess, experimenting with the underground, and they feed him to
So right before that they
say something about not the American,
right?
But no, that's not Hopper. The American could be anybody. It's not Hopper. Hopper's fucking dead.
So the Duffer Brothers have some predictably vague teases about Stranger Things Season 4. They say, quote, assuming there is a Season 4, obviously the question of who that American is in that cell, and then also what we're doing with the Demogorgon is a tease. There's obviously going to play a huge role in the potential Season 4.
Demogorgon's human now.
But what if they opened up Season 4 outside of Hawkins? Suddenly it's in Russia... And wherever Winona Ryder's character and 11 and Mike have moved,
I feel like at this point it's a stretch. I feel like we've seen basically the same kind of thing for 3 seasons, and 2 out of those 3 were great, or not great. 1 was great, 2 was fair, or 3 was fair, and 1 was just that.
Yeah, I think 1 was great, 3 was pretty good. And 2 was...
Trash.
No, I don't think it was trash. It just, this is what always happens, man. They have this hit season of a show, and they're like, great, we put everything we had into this one season. Who knows if we'll get a second season?
That's what I feel like is Swamp Thing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's a huge hit.
I lied.
Then they're like, oh, man, we can make 10 seasons. Not Swamp Thing? What?
I lied. That's not what Swamp Thing... because we're already at the mid-season, and they're still laying out plot points, like I feel like they felt like they were going to have more and I think they initially did have more episodes in this first season, but then they had to cut a bunch of them out. So like
they hadn't filled them, but they had planned on filming I think 15 and they cut 5.
It's languid. It's they're like Ian Ziering is in it. You remember Ian Ziering from 90210?
Sure.
So he's in it, and his character
Sharknado.
And his character has this interesting arc, but you're not sure where it's going, and we're already through the middle of the season, and they haven't revealed what that means or why is he saying there's all these whys that they haven't linked together that I think they were thinking they were going to have more time to do.
Sure.
And now I'm sort of like,
get
to it.
Let's get to it. Let's
get to it. He's a big swamp monster now. Let's see some of that swamp monster shit that he can do.
But I think the same thing happened with The Matrix. Same thing happened with Mr. Robot. Something becomes a huge success. The first installment becomes a huge success. What?
I like that second Matrix.
Right, I know it's fine, but at least with this, it feels like they suddenly realized we can make 10 seasons out of this after the first season.
10? No. 3 at best.
I'm not saying whether they should or should not. I'm not saying from a taste perspective what's the right choice. I'm just saying they realized they could, and there's a pile of money right here, and there's these people who can do things for a living. Okay, let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Are they going to make a season 4?
Obviously.
Are you going to watch it?
If we're still doing this podcast, probably, yes.
Okay. All right, exactly.
But at the same time, I don't think they should. What
would it take for season 4 to be good to you? As good as season 1?
Oh, at least 3 of them kids got to die.
Okay.
There should be repercussions for some of these actions that they've done.
They got character bloat right now, anyways,
and they're adding more kids to the roster.
I agree.
Like, there are more kids adding to the roster, but the older people are dying.
Yeah,
I think somebody's got to pay the consequence. I feel like 11 should pay the fucking consequence, and I feel like maybe or either 11 or who ends up being her boyfriend? Not Will, but the other one. What's his face?
Mike.
So is it Mike?
Yeah, it's Mike. Skinny old Mike.
So Mike, I think Mike needs to die or 11 needs to die. Maybe Max can take a hit. I mean, she hasn't done anything for 2 seasons.
Too many characters.
Like, just
we got Dustin. We got Dustin's girlfriend Susie now.
I think you need Dustin because Dustin is sort of a linchpin for a lot of what goes on in there. I think Will can survive. I think Dustin can survive, but the rest of the motherfuckers can easily get scrapped off the board. Just knock them right off the board.
I think, that's what I think part of what I'm saying is as they get older, it would be interesting if the show also got a little more mature as they
in the way that the Harry Potters did. I
and
agree.
Darker. Yeah.
I agree. But for them, you said 10 years worth. I'm like, no, because then they're out of the 80s. Like, this isn't even like the top. This isn't 1980. They're probably like in the middle of the 80s when this thing started.
84.
So if they made 10 seasons of this, then they're into the 90s.
Yeah.
And could you imagine this being done in the 90s? It would suck balls.
I can imagine how much money that they would make if they kept it going.
I can't even.
The 90s.
I can't even.
Got Saved by the Bell going on.
For me, this season was a burp, but with caveats.
What was the worst part of the season for you?
Worst part of the season?
Because I can tell you what Evan Rachel Woods thinks was the worst part.
And who was that?
Evan Rachel Woods. She's an actress from Westworld.
She the main one, the blonde girl?
Yeah, and so she complained over on Twitter about kind of basically she says, quote, "You should never date a guy like the cop from #Stranger Things. Extreme jealousy and violent rages are not flattering or sexy like TV would have you believe. That is all."
Also, the 80s. And, so, yes,
and
she's
Twitter,
right.
And Twitter blew up.
And in what way? What did Twitter say?
Because people came out and defended Hopper, basically.
Really? Yeah, I think I just did. I was like, yeah, she's right. But also, this was 30 damn years ago. That kind of behavior clearly isn't okay.
Right. But what she's just trying to say, it's like, even when I was watching it, I was annoyed by Hopper. His character and his relationship went on right. I just annoyed the shit out of me. I'm like, stop yelling at each other. And then when what's-his-face, the
Russian translator, right.
He's like, oh, you guys should just fucking get it over with. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, obviously, right. Everybody knows. Like,
right.
Come up with some better writing than this. Like, he's just yelling at her the whole time, and she's yelling at him, and it's just like, find something more interesting. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Yeah, they were actually that relationship was sort of the least interesting part of this entire season.
Yeah,
like because exactly that you were like, just fucking get over it, and the fact that these two people didn't realize that or needed some other like intermediary to come in and sort of line that up for them.
Don't
was
buy
like
it.
It was just. Yeah, it was bad writing.
It was bad writing. Definitely bad writing.
This season was rife with bad writing, except for the occasional moments when it wasn't.
What was some other option? Because I thought Bob from season 2 was bad writing.
Oh, yeah. Bob from season... Oh, you're talking about Sean Astin.
Sean Astin, yeah.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You know what? Some of the best writing for me had to deal with Steve and Robin's relationship.
Right. Did you like that? Did you like that twist that she turns out to be a lesbian? Yeah.
I liked that twist, and I liked how they handled it.
Yeah. Because I love that Steve didn't get her.
I like that Steve didn't get her, and I like the moment where Steve has to understand, like, because there's that moment he was like, yeah, but she's a girl.
Yeah.
And then they do a good job of letting you watch Steve, kind of get that.
Right.
And then have to, come to her in a way to being like, yo, I get you.
Yeah.
And we're still good. That for me was the best. That was the best part of Stranger Things for me. It was because it didn't seem like it was pandering. It felt like it felt like something that would have organically happened and does happen and has happened and will continue to happen in the course of like, young adult lives and young adult relationships. So just the fact that it happened where it happened, like it wasn't something that they had to like beat over the head once it was up. They were like, yo, I was staring at you, but it wasn't because I liked you, dude. I was staring at you because I was like, what the fuck? I like her. Why didn't she like me back?
Right.
And sort of like his kind
nice
of
little
like
twist too.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was one of the. It makes me want to go back and look at each episode to see if like each episode was written by somebody different. Probably
it might have been. I didn't really get that into it
because I don't think these were kind of uniformly written by one person across the 8 episodes. I think each episode, because there were some episodes that I felt like were better than others.
Right. What did you get the sense that Will was gay?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because there was one he wears those crazy like high-waisted shorts.
Oh, don't put the fashion. Don't indict the fashion.
I'm not indicting the fashion. None of the other kids wear. Okay. None of the other kids wear like high-waisted shorts.
Maybe that's where his waist is at, Larry.
They show off his like.
My waist is up here, and I wear my pants below my waist.
I guarantee.
So maybe he just.
You show up with shorts that you pulled up to your nipples. I'm gonna say something.
Well, I should fucking hope you would be like, yo, you look good, plan. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. You gotta tell me.
Yeah.
Like today, like my reaction to you walking up, and I thought you were wearing red leather, like Italian driving shoes, and I almost barbecued you for it. I was like, what the?
They're just Vans.
Okay, those are just Vans.
But then, because Mike has a line, he's like, you don't even like girls. Which could be like yet. You don't like girls yet, or because they're young. They're only like 12 or 13 at this point.
Right.
Is that, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, but...
Or it could be like they just...
probably like 13, 14.
Did you have a friend that you grew up with that you knew were gay, but you guys just never talked about it?
Not a friend, but definitely a classmate, like a UE.
Yeah.
There was a few in my class at UE.
Because I definitely had like some kids throughout grade school who...
I
could tell that they would talk and be like, yeah, the girl's so hot. But then we would look at each other.
And be like,
I was like, we know. We're not going to talk about it. We know.
Honestly, I can't think of one dude that I knew or girl that I knew from back in the day who was like, who ended up being gay or trans or whatever. I can't think of one person other than undergrad. I can't think of one person.
Right. So go back to Erica and Lucas. Do you have where do you fall with like how this show does not confront racism at all?
Well, I think it's enough to be said that there's only one, and I guess in this season 2 black characters on the show.
Right.
That in all of Hawkins, there's only one black kid that hangs out like that.
For me, like the reality, like
is that true?
Yeah.
80s Indiana.
Because I grew up in Indiana, 80s Indiana. And I was explaining this to Laurel last night. I was like, she was like, I just think it would be much more racist if it was the 80s, it's Indiana. I was like, yeah, but like my high school
probably
had like 600, and they were like two or three black kids, and they were by far the most popular cool kids in the school. Everybody liked them. Nobody was going out of their way to
make them feel out of
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that racism wasn't there, because of course it was.
Well, I mean, you guys. And I think I asked you this. Wasn't one of the high schools in your town like named after the Grand Dragon of the region?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. There was.
I think I
Castle
read that
High School
or heard that. And what was the other one?
Memorial.
I think it was Memorial. I think whoever founded
that was the one that was close to UET, so that would make sense.
I think that was the one that someone told me.
School too.
Its name, like whatever the high school was named after the Grand Dragon of the region.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the KKK start in Indiana?
Who knows?
I think it started in Indiana, not Evansville per se.
Let me get out my KKK Bible here.
Not Evansville per se, but I'm pretty sure that like the formation of that club started in Indiana.
Do you want to show like Stranger Things to confront racism with these characters?
I don't think you need to.
Yeah.
I think if you tried to do that, it takes away from what story you're trying to tell, which is a science fiction. Like I like the little nod to the LGBTQ
community
aspect. I like that because that's something that we need more of and should be a little bit more readily present.
Right.
But I think there are other avenues and other venues to address racism other than
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I mean, there is in season 2, Billy doesn't want Max to date Lucas. Right? He's like, I don't want you around that boy.
Right.
They never said, I don't want you around that black kid. Or I don't want that.
But they never address why.
Yeah. Did you like his character, Billy's character?
I did.
I did too.
I did. I thought he was better served this season than he was in the previous.
Yeah.
Also, I also felt Max was once again underused.
Yeah.
Which isn't her fault. It's just that I like that they did. Well, I think that's to her detriment and to her pro, because I like that this season wasn't singularly focused on any one character. They did a really good job of sort of intersplicing all these characters' motivations and lives.
It felt better balanced than season 2. Season 2 felt like, to me, once again, felt like, oh my gosh, we can make a whole bunch of seasons out of this. Let's just slow down and take our time. Let's give
make it a little more languid.
Let's give Hopper and 11 like 7 episodes in a cabin.
Arc. Right.
I'm just like, fuck. Like, come on. So this felt definitely better balanced. Didn't feel like this was a slog, but I did get to like season.
No, this it went like this. Like, and I was more entertained by this, and I think because, like I said, it wasn't solely focused, and also like they did a good job of sort of like fully realizing the world. I like the technology, the fashion, like oh, you got a new bikini, such and such. That's cool, and like the mall. The mall was represented in a way here. The mall was another character that was represented here, and it got introduced here. So it helped fill the world for me with other than these people's problems and this entity that they have to fight. That was all. That almost came like secondary and tertiary to the world built that they build for me.
Right.
Like I like the pool. Like you remember the fucking pool?
Man.
Like,
I remember those goddamn lifeguards.
Those
too.
like you remember that?
And that was very 80s. It was like, hey, lard ass or
right. Well, I'll ban you for life from here. Like that's the last thing you wanted to do is be banned from life from the community pool.
Yeah. Well, that's it's funny because you were giving me. Rob recently asked me through text because we're going to Florida, and my dad golfs in Florida. And he was like, "Do you golf?"
I was like, "Do you golf?" Because I hadn't thought about it because we'll be on vacation in a couple months together, and I know that dad golfs, and I was like, shit, I wonder if Larry golfs, and so that's what I was, and so when I put it to you, it was mostly like, I'm going to have to start going to driving ranges so I don't embarrass myself on the golf course.
Well, I haven't golfed in years.
I don't give a damn. I'm going down to Chelsea Piers, and I'm getting my driving on.
Can we both go?
I think we should. I'm not going to show up on the golf course and be embarrassed in front of Dad. I promise you that.
So somewhere around like 1992, 93, my dad's company, PBS, comes in and wants to give him like a raise of like $10,000 a year or something like that. And he says, you know what? You know, it would be better if you pay for this membership to this Rolling Hills Country Club
in Indiana.
In Newburgh. So Newburgh is like 98% white, 2% person of color. Rolling Hills Country Club is 98% white or 99% white and like 1%. I don't remember ever seeing anybody black there. I mean, it was already things are segregated so much in Southern Indiana as it is. And so anyways, he got this membership for the family because we were going to like the normal like Stranger Things pool style thing in Indiana, and this had its own pool, had a driving range, tennis courts.
What age? What age were you?
12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
So like right up until you went to UE.
Yeah, it was like a way to like put us in some style of camp without doing camp, because every day we would go and do tennis, or every day we would go and do golf. Every day we would go on the swim team. I know all this. I know all the swimming strokes. I know all those things. Like that's why I'm a strong swimmer, because I was on the swim team for 3 or 4 years.
Who are you?
I know, right?
Who the fuck are you?
How come you didn't know this?
I didn't know any of this, dude.
So I was a country club member for 3, 4, 5 years,
and on the swim team apparently.
And on the swim team, yeah.
Did you do the hairless thing where you shaved all your body hair?
I didn't have any hair then. I was skinny. I was very, very skinny, no hair. But golf was one of the things I took lessons in, and you could go and play free golf whenever you wanted.
No shit.
The best thing that I remember though was mostly just the pool. They had like a diving board, but then they had like the concession stand that was like off.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you were still like long-haired, peace, love, like. Yeah. So you would that was you at the country club, yes. Like on the links, long hair, just like long hair, don't care.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Wow, I mean, I was a little out of golf by that point. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to the country club as much, but my parents would go there occasionally.
Do you own your own clubs? Or did you own your own clubs?
Because you could rent them. Why would I own my own clubs? And I wasn't good. It wasn't like I was a good golfer. I knew golf.
Right.
But I was still like, I don't know, like it was hot. I didn't want to go out in the sun. I want to play video games and watch movies and like.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I had no idea.
if they still lived in Indiana, that's where when we would go, instead of going to Florida in 2 weeks, we'd be going to Indiana
and
we'd be going to the country club, me and you and everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was,
Okay.
A couple unanswered questions real quick. We can bang through them and we'll be done.
All right, for sure.
Who is the American at the end, right? We don't know.
We don't know.
I think
it's not Hopper.
I think it's Hopper.
It's not Hopper.
It's Hopper.
Hopper is molecules. He got evaporated.
I guess we'll check back here. And maybe if it's not Hopper, who was the other... What other American could it have been?
It could be any. It could be them introducing a completely different character based on this red herring notion that it's Hopper because they said it American.
Yeah, so it's probably not Hopper, but I still think Hopper's coming back.
Okay. In the actual blast radius of the machine that turns people into molecules, but okay.
So what was the U.S. government doing this whole time?
That's a good question because they didn't even show up at the end to clean up anything.
Yeah.
I mean. My question is, well, no, that's interesting because Gary Shandling, not Gary Shandling, the guy from Aliens, the original Aliens, what's his face?
Yeah, no.
What's his name? Not Gary Shandling. Mark something? No.
Reiser?
Reiser.
Yeah.
Paul Reiser.
There you go.
Thank you. Jesus Christ, I was losing it.
That's it. Paul Reiser, Dr. Sam.
But he shows up at the end of this and makes a nice little cameo, to button hook all this back around. But even the end of Stranger Things 2, he survives, but then no repercussions.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to the dance, and we don't see him. Everybody just goes back to their lives. I'm like, what?
I mean, that's what's kind of questionable. Is first season, that's U.S. government down there.
Right.
Second season, also U.S. government, but they realize at least they mess up.
Right.
But then they just let the Russians move in and build them all and put all this. Maybe the Russians didn't build them all, but it's on top of this.
The Russians built them all because the Russians Carrie Ells, which I loved. That was
you liked the mayor.
I liked the mayor.
I liked the guy's ass kicked. I was like, why is this guy even here?
I liked the mayor. I liked that it was Carrie Ells because it took me forever to. The whole season I was watching, I was like, that motherfucker looks like old boy from Princess Bride. Yeah. But I wasn't sure.
Right.
I was like, he looks too good to be. He looks too good. But it ended up being him, and I love that he wasn't overused because I think when people get Carrie Ells to be in things, they have a tendency to overuse him because he's so well known because he's Carrie Ells and Princess Bride, and we all love that. But I thought he was used so tactfully that I was like, yes, of course he would make a deal with the Russians to bring this mall here. So, no, I think he did deal with the Russians. The Russians paid for that mall.
Yeah.
And he just gave them the zoning or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense. Good point, yeah. So what happens to 11's powers?
That's also a good question. It could be, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this to the Spider-Man 2 version movie where
suddenly he's impotent.
He can't shoot webs anymore. I can't. I think that's a little bit to what's happening with 11, especially that she's just had this trauma where the thing was inside of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but it right before her powers only started to get suspect right after that. After she goes almost super ham to pull it out of her own body.
Right.
So I think Mike is right in that it will return and it will return in some even grandiose way because we knew that 11 was telepathically and telekinetically strong, but she shows it crazy in this version. Yeah. You see it a couple times. You see it at the end of season 2 where she uses the full force of her to close the
she
a
uses
rip
one hand
to
and
close
then
a rip
in
the gate space time. And then she uses it again to basically hold off the physical embodiment of the mind flare, having melted and she's tossing this thing around with reckless abandon.
Oh yeah,
almost
left, right, up, down, out the window.
Left, down, ABA, start. Almost to Jean Grey level telekinesis. So I think she'll get it back.
Yeah. I think season 4 prediction, I think that she'll end up getting possessed by the mind flayer, just like Will was in some sense. And then it'll take the reemergence of Hopper to make her suddenly have her powers.
And I'm going to go on the record and say none of that is happening.
Why aren't the parents more involved?
Why didn't you going to ask that now?
I know.
We're 3 seasons. That's the only parent who seemed to give a damn was Winona.
Yeah. I mean,
and nobody else cared
because there's too many characters. It's just too much going on. Like,
but see, you think about it when you think
Erica's
about it,
gone for how many hours? Like 24 hours, and like she's like a young kid.
Well, you remember that there's a scene in season 3 where Winona's character is asking about the kids when she runs into old girl at the mall, the mother of
dragons, mother of Billy.
God damn it, I hate you.
Billy's mom?
No, it wasn't Billy's mom. It was Mike's mom.
Oh, Mike's mom.
She runs into Mike's mom in the mall, and she's like, "Where are the kids?" And she's like, "Bitch, I don't know." She didn't say, "Bitch, I don't know," but she's like, "I think they're at somebody's house."
She's like, "I shouldn't even be in this show."
This is small. This is one small town, small suburb. You know,
my parents knew where I was, though. I mean,
really,
I could not have been gone for 24 hours without somebody noticing for sure.
But like, you could be gone for half the day.
Yeah. So Penelope will, she's about 2 years away from being like completely
autonomous.
Yeah. Next year will be kind of a testing ground, and probably 2 years we'll have to get her a phone because like it's New York. I'm going to want to know where she is.
You know what? I want to say to both of y'all, good on you for her already not having one.
Yes. Yeah. Laurel's talking like, oh, and you're not going to get one for about 5 years. I'm like, no, I think it's going to be about 2.
I feel like middle school around that time is right around the time when I had a pager. I don't know about you, but I had a pager right around 7th or 8th grade.
My friend's driveway.
So that's like 13.
Yeah,
13, 14.
Because I want her to have that kind of a pseudo experience of going out in the summer and being like, okay, cool. I'm without my parents. Let's go hang out with my friend and let's be bored. Let's go see what happens. You want to go to the pool? You want to go do this?
I was never. I didn't come of age in New York.
No,
which I find is wildly different than coming of age where
in
Midwest, South. So I feel like now is a better time for coming of age in New York than it's ever been.
Oh, sure.
Because when I was coming of age in New York, it was the 80s, and it was a demilitarized zone in the part of Brooklyn that I was growing up in. Like, when the sun went down, you were inside, or somebody was sticking a gun or knife or something in your face and being like, give me what you got, run your pockets.
Yeah.
So it wasn't conducive. I think that's part of the reason why my mom was like, I got to leave here. I don't want to live in New York like this. And why we ended up moving to Houston when we did, because I was able to then have summers and have experiences where I was like, oh, no one's going to check on me? Let's go set shit on fire!
Yeah. Did you ever sneak out at night?
No, never had to.
Really?
No.
You could just go?
No, I never wanted to, I guess is what
really?
I should say. No, because my old lady would have murdered me.
We said, me and Bo and
you guys
multiple friends, we would sneak out, and they were like roaming gangs of Newburgh. And we would run into other gangs of like 12,
crazy
13-year-old kids.
Because that is the premise of how they see us.
Yeah.
The Central Park 5. That's exactly the premise of Central Park 5.
Yeah.
Let's sneak out, hang out in the park, mind our business, and then end up going to jail for 13 years.
Yeah, that could have happened.
Not in Indiana.
Not in Indiana. No, good enough.
Not to your ass.
Not to me, that's for sure. I think that's it. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
You want to talk about the music just for a second? I love.
that was the other thing that I really enjoyed from this season is there seemed to me, and I don't know if this was present in the previous seasons, but there seemed to me that there was like this synth bass line or the synth score line that ebbed and flowed from scene to scene and from episode to episode, and was interlaced with like a lot of great 80s like jams. But there was an overall arcing sense of this musicality that I hadn't heard or wasn't aware of in the previous seasons.
Yeah, it's a little different. So season 1 is basically all just score.
Right.
So if you buy the soundtrack, it's the score. You can't really buy. You can find like an online like playlist on Spotify or whatever. Right. But for the most part, it's just the score. Season 2 had a few other songs that came in. Season 3, now if you buy the LP, which comes out July 26th, which I'm going to get, because I think the score is the best it's ever been in this movie. It definitely inspired a ton of synthwave stuff when the first season came out. This feels like they're actually taking scores from like Neverending Story and like putting some of that into the actual Stranger Things score and mixing that with their kids theme,
right?
Do, 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 that kind of thing. There's this. I mean, it is kind of revitalized electronic synth music.
I'd say the EDM movement probably did that.
Yeah, well, that's more just electronic. I'm talking about the synth of like the 80s. There was the Cliff Martinez soundtrack to Drive. Which brought about the Chromatics and Glass Candy.
Wow. Deep cut.
Yeah, well, I kind of got into some of this stuff. John Carpenter's always been on the scene doing these kind of synthy scores. But Kyle Dixon, I forget the other Michael, whatever his last name is.
It definitely was the best. I think that's part of the reason why I was hooked into watching it so much, because of the musicality of each episode made it. It had that almost Spielberg-esque way of overture, but not with like not with your like standard sort of overture, but like this synth overture that kind of like permeated scene to scene, and then kind of dovetailed into like something that came off the radio from that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's the best it's ever been in this season.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else?
I think that's it, buddy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'd say if you got nothing else to do, it's 8 hours.
Yeah, you'll blow through it.
You'll blow through it, and you might come away with it feeling better about it than I did. I thought it was okay.
I think you liked it.
I think I liked it. I definitely liked it better than season 2.
Yes.
But once again, it suffers from the fact that nobody pays for their actions. Yeah. Except for Steve. Yeah. Steve's the only dude who seems to keep paying for everybody else's actions.
And I love it so much.
I don't. I'm like, yo, yes, he's a white guy. Yes, they've had their run. But come on. He didn't do anything to deserve getting his ass beat up by Russians for 45 hours.
I think that's what makes him so good, though, is that, like, he just keeps getting licked, and he keeps smiling. He keeps being just positive. Like, he's got such a positivity to him that he's like...
He's not even mad that old boy is dating his ex. Like,
yeah.
Dating his ex.
Steve was like, I had the best conversation with Penelope about popularity yesterday, and based it entirely on Steve.
Really?
And was like, because popularity somehow came up in schools and those things. I said, look, take it from Steve. Like, he has this whole conversation with Robin about how he spent all his time trying to be popular and trying to be the prom king, and like a year later, he doesn't even care about it. It's not what's important, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
And he wishes that he had not spent so much time worrying about those things and gotten to know Robin's character.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, and that was the conversation you had with
Penelope, yeah.
That's dope.
I think popularity is different than the way it was in the 80s.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, it took a lot more to do it. Now, I mean, because of the technology, because, everyone had a camera and a microphone, like, that's
Yeah,
I mean,
you can be popular in different spheres, but it's like almost impossibly popular everywhere.
And based on recent trends, like people are wanting to be popular for sometimes not even really something cool. Like it's usually either gross or shocking or like
and not everybody can be Jeff Galfer.
And that's where you put the fart buzzer in there.
I just farted, yeah. There you go. This has been What We Into. I'm your host, Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson.
Send us an email about how much you love Jeff Galfer at whatweinto@gmail.com.
Yeah, if he comes at us, you're going to have to handle that.
You can tweet about Jeff Galfer at dial_Lawrence. If you want to send us $1...
You are plugging his shit harder than you plugging our shit. Plug our shit, then plug his shit.
Send us $1 to patreon.com/whatweinto. We'll just keep it going.
I don't even need $1. I can do that shit for free.
Yeah.
But it's been a good week, man.
It's been a great week.
All right, we'll see you next.
2 more weeks and we'll be in Florida.
Is it really only 2 weeks?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh shit.
Maybe
July?
3.
Yeah, I guess it is.
2.5, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah, see you in Florida, my dude.
All right, if you have an idea of what you want us to go over next week, send us an email, whatweinto@gmail.com. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride